Today on Ranger Command Power Hour.
Wouldn't it, totally suck if he didn't answer when we called?
Oh, don't say that!
Come on. It's weird because there's no dial tone. Oh, there it is.
You reached Ron. Leave a message.
Oh, no!
At the tone, please record your message. When you're
Leave a message. Leave a message.
You may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Ron, this is Eric over at the Ranger Command Power Hour, just giving you a call. We're recording on Skype right now, so I'll just call back in a second. Thank you.
AP, why would you say the thing that you said that happened?
And now on Ranger Command Power Hour.
Hey, it's the Ranger Command Power Hour.
Today on the Power Hour, episode 35, Ranger Nation interview Ron Roget, recorded on February 26, 2015. Welcome to the Ranger Command Power Hour on the Four-Eyed Radio Network. It's time to Ranger up with your hosts. I'm Eric, also known as Trekkie B47.
I'm AP, also known as Secret Ranger Fan.
And I'm Zach, also known as the Cinema Slob.
Today we are interviewing Ron Roget, best known in Ranger Nation as Captain William Mitchell. He has starred in numerous television roles, most recently in Sleepy Hollow, Amazon's Man in the High Castle, Modern Family, The Middle, Devious Minds, and the feature film The Activist. He primarily trained in theater in San Francisco Bay Area, performing in over 75 plays and musicals before moving to Hollywood and attaining his first ever TV credit. He is also an active theater director with over 35 credits and has been associated with Noah Wiley's prestigious The Blank Theater Company for over 10 years as a director, producer, actor, and company casting director. So welcome to the Ranger Command Power Hour, Ron.
Wow, that's so exciting. I want to meet that guy.
So with me are my co-hosts. We've got AP, Secret Ranger Fan, and Zach, the Cinema Slob.
Nice.
So first, I just wanted to thank your Facebook page admin, Matt Allred, for helping coordinate this interview. So our first thing, it seems like you're fairly active on Facebook. Can you tell us a little bit more about reaching out to your fans through social media?
It's hard, I have to be honest. I mean, I get some people that want to chat, and that's cool, and if I can, I can. I'm not always on Facebook. I might have periods of time where I could be on Facebook, so I can reply a lot to them. I had a weird thing with somebody from, I think it was South America or something that said something to me in Spanish, and then said something else, and then said something else, and 5 times, and I wasn't around. I wasn't on my computer. I don't try to tie Facebook into my phone like a lot of people, I guess. But so it just whenever I happen to go on my computer and go on Facebook, I'll respond. But I guess he got annoyed that I didn't respond to his Spanish messages. His last thing was a little bit of Spanish that I actually knew, which wasn't very nice. He sweated me in Spanish for not replying to him in a timely fashion, I guess. And then I got some people that say hi 20 times in a row. Hi, 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 hi. They're well, give me something of substance to respond to, because if I just say hi back, we're not really having a conversation, are we? So I kind of have to pick and choose with the time I have available and the quality of the messages that are being sent. And then I try to be funny, and then I got people going, well, somebody said, is this really the Ron Roget? And I go, maybe, maybe not. I'm really angry, because probably doesn't know my sense of humor, and says, well, is it or not, damn it? But at that point, you're kind of well, no, I'm not going to reply to you. So, I have to have my own entertainment as well. It might not make everybody happy, but there you go.
Exactly. How often do you do conventions, and is going to conventions something that, more frequently, is something you're looking into, or?
Again, I guess I'm not very good at that whole thing, but I have enjoyed going to the last 2 Power Morphicons, which I think I met you at. But
yes,
the last 2 of them I've gone to, but they only happen once every 2 years in Pasadena, which also happens to be really close to where I live. So those are easy peasy. I would love to get invites to do more conventions and do stuff like that all over the state, meet fans that are in those states that can't always come to California, but. Yeah, I would love it. I would just need to figure out who I need to talk to do that more. I was starting to do that because this past year, with the help of Matt, I put together a Facebook page for Captain Mitchell, and got our 1,000th like on it. And so someone says, when you get like 1,000 likes, that conventions might take you more seriously and bringing you out. So
I see.
That just happened this week. Maybe I can make some more appearances. But if anybody out there has the ability to book people at convention, I'd love to listen. I have a broader spectrum than just the Power Ranger world, because I have done over 100 episodes of television in my short 18, 19 years in LA. So that's kind of cool.
Speaking of your roles in television, a lot of the stuff that I've seen you act in, it seems to be related to service industries like police, military. Is that the type of role you're drawn to?
Am I drawn to those? I'm only drawn to those because they pay me to do those roles. To be honest, I would love to do a lot more fun stuff, but it seems that my look and my Hollywood typecasting seems to be more of, you look like a cop. Actually, it's funny, and when I first started out, I was told you have to kind of typecast yourself so that the cast directors can remember you for certain type of roles. And so they did this whole promotion thing, and it worked so well that 10 years later, people are still calling me by this. But I always say, Ron Roger, think coaches, cops, contractors. And sure enough, that little marketing strategy paid off, because everybody thinks of me as one of those, which falls a little bit into what you're talking about. Coaches, cops, contractors. A lot of cops. They look like a cop, whether good or bad. That's up to them. But and I think that authority figure helped me get the Captain Mitchell part for Lightspeed Rescue.
Yeah, definitely. You play that type of authoritative figure really well. So for Captain Mitchell, was there any inspiration in playing his character? Did you have any family members that were in the military that you could look to?
Well, yes and no. I was born in Hawaii because my dad was stationed in the Navy. So it's kind of cool to say, man, I was born in Hawaii, but I don't remember it because I left when I was 2 when they divorced. So, and then didn't know my father at all growing up. Disappeared. I was raised by my stepfather, who was not in the military. So I guess I was born in a military hospital, but not really, didn't have any family inspiration. And also when I look back on the Captain Mitchell stuff, man, I wish I could have done more takes. Sometimes I look back now as an actor and go, man, I wish I would have taken this acting job more seriously. It's the one that sort of stuck with me all these years. You know, it's on 15 years now since we've done the show.
Right.
And, you know, I kind of wince a little bit because sometimes I wish I would have taken the job as an actor more seriously. Sometimes it was just like, you know, thinking a kid's show and being a little bit more silly with the lines. And then sometimes you think, man, if I would have just taken it so straight, it would have been so cool. But sometimes, frankly, I look back on some of it and kind of go, oh, well, it was what it was, wasn't it? I wish I would have taken, like, you know, serious acting classes and worked out the lines in acting class. And sometimes, as an excuse, these Japanese directors would come in frequently, and then they'd say, "Oh, we're just going to rehearse this." You rehearse it, but they record it on camera secretly, and then they go, "Okay, move on, we got it." And you're like, "Well, that was just a rehearsal. I wasn't even." And then that's stuff on TV, and you're like, "Well, that was crappy."
Oh man,
that's my life.
According to your IMDb page, you've held a lot of production staff roles in theater and film and TV. And can you tell us a little bit about that side of your career?
I didn't even think of acting in TV and movies because to me, when I was growing up in San Francisco, that was so far-fetched for me. And all I did from high school on was theater. There was a couple of times I've got to be stand-in. Somebody convinced me to go do stand-in work. So I got to stand in for Charles Grodin in the movie Heart and Souls with Robert Downey Jr. And he was actually nominated for an Oscar for his role in Chaplin during that shoot. So I was one of the first people to give him a hug. But I did stand-in work on a couple things, including Beverly Hillbillies, where I was Jed Varney's stand-in. Jed Varney played Jed, and do long days of shoots up in Northern California. So anyway, that was my only experience really with TV and film. And then I had a good friend. Don't get too sad now, but I had a good friend that did pass away, who's my roommate. He was 10 years older from me, got cancer, and then he kind of challenged me when he was on his deathbed. That he was like, we always talked about going to L.A., but you always said next year, maybe next year, maybe next year. And then when he was sick, he said, well, there is no next year for me. I'm not going to be here. But what's your excuse? And I said, I have none. And he said, okay, here's to next year. And so right after he passed away, I packed up my stuff, moved to L.A., and never looked back. And I started doing TV and film. And for being an older guy, because I was not in my 20s anymore when I went to L.A., I was just 30, so I was fortunate that within a few years I was able to get a decent amount of work and consider myself a working actor. For somebody that didn't grow up in town, I was fortunate that way, I guess. But that little story I told you, we made into a short film and we put it online on YouTube. And if you type in Live for the Day and type in Ron Roget, it should come up for you. So if you want to see that little dramatic piece of story I just told you in a 7-minute film, there you go. Yeah.
Well, what is your favorite acting role or on-set experience?
I enjoyed the Power Rangers for a lot of reasons. One, it was 40 episodes. I don't every single one. I mean, my credit was in every single beginning. So I enjoyed that part of it. I'm not working. I remember at the time that my fellow SAG actors were all on strike, commercial strike at that time, and they were out walking picket lines. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I wish I could help you, but I got to go to work today. That was fun. But I really enjoyed working on shows like Modern Family, that big fan of that show. And I was very thankful. I was in a very funny episode, and people have seen it. I like doing some of the darker shows. I did 24 years ago, back when it wasn't even on the air. We didn't even know if it would be on the air because 9/11 had just happened, and Fox wasn't thrilled about showing a terrorist show on TV, 9/11, but they finally did in November after September 11th, and we shot in October, so we had no idea if we were shooting a show that was even going to be aired. But that was fun. Keeper was a great guy. I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoy when I get a chance to go away. Sleepy Hollow, I was in North Carolina for 8 days. I did Devious Maids. I was in Atlanta for 2 weeks. It's always fun because I get to take these little adventures that are days that I'm down and go run around and see other places. I enjoyed it. We recurred on Treme for a couple episodes. But going there was a lot of fun to be in New Orleans, or New Orleans, as the locals say. I enjoyed that. The Amazon pilot I did, The Man in the High Castle, we were up in Seattle shooting that in the rain. Except for the rain, it was a very fun experience. So those are some of my moments that stand out.
Oh, speaking of Sleepy Hollow, we have one of our listeners, they asked a question, and we've got some listener questions here. So George Hansen Jr. at Silurian Ranger asked, what was it like playing an important figure like Henry Knox on a production like Sleepy Hollow, and would you return if asked?
That's a loaded question. I was a fan of Sleepy Hollow before I went there, but when I got back, I was not a fan of the show anymore.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that's not good on that show. I would go back if they asked me, because as an actor, I like being paid.
Right.
But I don't know if the show's coming back. They showed the last episode this week, actually, and it didn't appear like they were going to go on with it. It was really almost like a series finale. Like they might not come back, and they're happy with that ending, because they killed off all the bad guys. The witch got killed, the son got killed, the head bad guy got killed a few weeks ago. So I don't know if that show's coming back. Plus, North Carolina lost all its financial incentives, so who knows?
Right.
I didn't have the best experiences myself there with the production. I blame myself a little bit. I was sick and under the weather, and we were just miscommunicating all over the place. So I don't know if they'd even have me back, to be honest. But I loved the people on the show were great. The wardrobe people were great. The costume people, everybody was nice. And yeah, it was just a little rough edges when I went back. I liked being in North Carolina, although it was very cold when I went back last November. They had the first Arctic blast when I first got there that week, and we were shooting in 24-degree weather, and the belly dancers were turning blue, and it was horrible. But thanks, George, for that question. I hope I didn't dispel a Sleepy Hollow fan from turning up the demo, but I mean, I'm really curious if it's going to come back next season, because it just feels like the last episode was so final. I was like, holy crap, I think they're ending the show.
It was definitely weird. I mean, I really like that show, and I think they made some choices this season that were odd. It was definitely different from the first season.
And Fox really got involved with it, which I think is bad for any production studio to kind of come back and, For instance, I was told, so this is all by hearsay, and I don't want to be called a liar if this comes up, but when I was there, people were saying, yeah, we were episode 4 this season 2, and the studio came back and said they just audience tested episode 1 of the second season, which is why they're doing that in the middle of the show already. It's already on the air. Okay, whatever. So they got a bunch of people. Who knows what kind of people they got together, whether they were fans or just people off the street. You never know. But they said they had a bunch of notes and they wanted to reshoot episode 1 again. Well, they were already on episode 4. So they actually had to go back and shoot parts of episode 1, and then they said, well, the stuff that you're changing changes our storylines in 2, 3, and 4, which you've already shot. Are we going to go back and shoot those too? And they said, no, we just want the first episode because that's the one we tested. We want it to meet these recommendations. And we're like, well, it's just a weird way of shooting a show. So who knows? Who knows?
Crazy.
I can't second guess people like that. I'm a peon in this world of Hollywood. So I wish I could make more decisions. There'd be more cool shows out there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Carpenter at Snarky Sean said, how does it feel to be remembered by Power Ranger fans after all these years?
It's cool. I like it. I think I shocked some people when I showed up 2 conventions ago for the Morphicon because nobody from my cast had ever been to. And so I think my presence, people started talking a little bit more about Lightspeed, and then we got re-released on the DVD set. And then a lot of my cast did show up this last convention, so all of a sudden I think we were back on the map. So that was fun to kind of reintroduce not just me, but the whole cast, because we were such a family while we were shooting it with Allison and Sean and everybody, Red, Sasha, Monica. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Keith. I did that especially because Keith should be well known, but I like it. But that was cool. And what I'm actually more excited about now is there's people that want to see the Mitchell family have a reunion with me and my 2 kids. I think I'm the only character in Power Ranger history that actually had children on the show, and that it was also part of the active squad. I was not just the commander of Lightspeed Rescue, but I had one kid that started off being a ranger, and the other one, the only ranger to be an American ranger, who eventually joined the squad to become our 6th ranger, have a titanium and a pink ranger. Man, it's nice to know that it's super firm. I'm spitting out Power Rangers out of my loins, which was amazing. Uh-oh, this is a kids' talk show, right? I should probably edit that, I guess. No, who knows? No. Anyway, but I am excited about the 3 of us kind of doing the convention scene together and maybe traveling and hanging out, because that was a fun little side thing in the show, not just the whole adventure, but we had a family adventure that was going on there. And, we had even talked about making a short film with just the 3 of us doing something, but I'm not sure what the legal rights are of us being able to use our characters or not, but maybe we just call each other by our first names and leave it at that. But yeah, that would be fun to do something like that. So that part of it is kind of exciting to maybe carry on another part of the story.
Definitely.
Excellent. So our next listener question comes from the Monkey Grid at Monkey Ranger, and he asks, how long did it take you to say, I am sick of this mustache?
Well, I think I've revealed this little fact at the convention, but we might as well let some people know that when I was first cast in the show, I was younger than I was supposed to be. I was in my 30s. The role was supposed to be written 55 or older.
Oh, wow.
I was not the first choice. They actually chose an English actor to play the part because of the age difference. I was the backup choice. And because he would not reschedule a 1-week vacation during the course of the 6-month shoot, they wanted him totally available. He would not do that. He said, I've already paid for my ticket. I'm not doing it. Shoot around me. And they said goodbye. They let him go because of that. And I overnight became the choice, I guess. That's a fun story at some point. But anyway, then they kind of realized, because the first audition I didn't do it, but the second audition, the callback, I came in with gray in my hair. And Jonathan, the executive producer, was like, oh, you look much older today. Because I knew that was a concern the first time, that I wasn't old enough. And I said, I decided not to color my hair. I let the natural gray come through. Well, as it was, I was sort of fibbing because I actually put the gray in my hair because I didn't really have gray in my hair. So they think that I was older. So when it came down to it, they were like, how can we make you older? We're obviously going to put gray in the hair, and we're also, maybe we'll do something like add a mustache to make them feel older. So the first, and I can't remember, 3 or 4 episodes that we did, I actually had a fake mustache on. I went in and makeup applied it. Then we took Christmas vacation for like 2 weeks. And then when I came back, over that vacation, I had grown my own mustache. So the rest of it was just mine, that they kind of filled in a little bit more to add more bushiness to it, or a bushy look to it, fill it in with makeup. But that's the mustache thing. So I liked it. All the stuff I shot, I shaved it when I was done with the show, but there were some shows I shot in between my shooting of Power Ranger episodes and movies where I was in that I have a mustache in, and I always know that was from that one time period in my life. So doing because that's the only time I had a mustache. So.
One of our listeners, Uchi at Anime Redneck 96, said, for Power Rangers, what was the most memorable moment behind the scenes or on screen?
Well, it was sad when they were blowing up our station at the end, the last couple episodes, when the Aqua base went down. It was not just for the characters feeling like they lost something, and I'm standing there watching everything explode around me. They did a really cool shot with the cameras kind of spinning around me as everything was spinning around me, and I'm just standing there dazed. But it was also knowing that, our little Power Ranger life was coming to an end. That was sad. The last scene where we're all hugging, and that's all pretty genuine stuff there. We're all pretty sad that the whole experience was over,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Mike at M. Lundstead wanted to know how you felt about how your character was developed over season. Like, were you happy about it, or did you want more development for Captain Mitchell?
Well, who wouldn't want more, right? But
right.
No, I think that somebody else told me this, and I don't know if it's gotten out there in the Power Ranger world, but I think I was the first series regular that wasn't a villain, that wasn't a Power Ranger. I mean, we had even the previous commanders were all they just showed up whenever they can. I don't know if they were a series regular, but I was the first live action series regular that, and Monica too as Miss Fairweather. We were the first series regulars that were hired on the show that were not either villains or Power Rangers, and so I was thrilled at that. I thought that was very cool. So I enjoyed that, and, it's always fun. Sometimes I got scripts where I was in it a bunch, and sometimes I got scripts where they went a different way, but that was sort of based on the Japanese footage and what they wanted to do with it, They always use, 8 to 10% or whatever Japanese footage. So they try to do, the American writers tried to do storylines around those images, which was, I thought it was pretty cool that they got to do that. And the fact that they created, Miss Fairweather and Captain Mitchell anyway, because they weren't in the Japanese footage either. We're total American characters. So they included us, and that was kind of cool. And it was fun when those episodes where I got to turn evil and get possessed by Mesmer. And, that was cool. And you get to get tied up in the spider web, and you're suspended from spider webs up, I thought that was a lot of fun. And then there's episodes where I'm, not in at all except for the opening credit. And you're like, well, that sucks. So these days I didn't appreciate.
Actually, one of my favorite moments of your characters in the show was giving Carter that pep talk about building, blowing up, and that speech about the choices we make determine who we are. I thought that was a pretty powerful scene. Yeah,
that was cool, that whole training thing, and it's him and I got to kick his ass, which I keep reminding him every time I see him. This old character apparently kicking Carter's butt was awesome. I was like, well, how did he get so skilled in all that? He was a firefighter, for God's sake. Who knows? Anyway, I'm not going to question that. But, yeah, it was fun. It was the whole fire thing. And actually somebody did a little picture of him and I sitting on the hillside, and it said something about, and they used a quote, sometimes heroes are, on my Facebook page, I can't remember it. And I was like, oh my God, look at that. That was amazing. They made they do little quote things, and they put pictures, and they have quotes that are right on the pictures and stuff. That somebody did something with the line. But I really appreciated they did that.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the whole Carter episode. That was fun. And then they thought I'd die when the building blew up and I come rappelling down from the roof. I was like, yeah, it's just another day in firefighting. And they're like, oh, my God. That was cool. Right? Wasn't that cool?
Yeah. It was cool. It was a great moment for Captain Mitchell.
Yeah. And my mom.
Our next listener question comes from Megan at Live Love Jelena. Did you ever try or want to try the Lightspeed Rescue morph?
No, I just let the kids do that.
And kind of on a similar question, Jen
Even heroes are only humans. I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was a classic. Even heroes are only human. I still can't remember my lines. That's okay. Go ahead.
Well, a similar question was, if you could ever be a ranger, what would your color choice be?
I mean, the Red Rangers are so iconic, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But I always kind of wanted to be the Black Ranger. We didn't have a Black Ranger in our squad, and I was like, with my Navy uniform that I wore, it was sort of, mostly black in color, so I was always like, I can just put on a black outfit and go out there and fight as Captain Mitchell. So when I was shooting, I thought that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Our next question is from PR101 at Rickman0804, and he asks, if you were asked to come back to Power Rangers, would you go?
Yeah, I would love to, as long as we can work out the deal, because, they've gone non-union again. When I shot it, it was a union gig, and for union actors, it's almost a no-no to go back and do something that's non-union. So we'd have to make up some kind of deal where all that would have to be factored in. But yeah, I would love to. I was at the casting of this year's Power Rangers when I was at the final callbacks. I was helping Iris Hampton do some casting because she just wanted some help, and I wanted to hang out and see everybody, and it was kind of fun being there and seeing this year's Rangers. They're shooting right now down in New Zealand.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then, with Chip Lynn coming back to the show.
Yeah, Chip Lynn was our writer. When you talked about the writing and did I like the writing, and I had to say yes, because Chip Lynn and Jackie Marchand were the two writers during our season. And so they're the ones that give all the credit for creating a Captain Mitchell character anyway. They were both awesome. I loved them both. Pretty cool. Chip's running the whole show now, which was kind of a shocking because, he's always a little bit mild-mannered, and now he's the boss. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. Go, Chip. I actually would like to approach him and try to find out if he'd let me come down to New Zealand and maybe direct an episode or two of this year's show. I'd like to do that.
That would be awesome. I'm all for that.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that our crew petitioned Jonathan and the head executive heads of Saban at the time because they felt like they liked our cast so much. Not to put anything down on the other cast, because I met a lot of them and they're great people, but they did act, because I guess we're so we're such a tight unit of everybody liked each other, that they petitioned Saban not to recast the show anymore. Like, let's leave this cast in place and continue doing more Power Ranger stuff. But, they were locked in now on doing a new cast every year and different themes and stuff. So,
well, you guys did come back for the next year for the team-up.
You guys, maybe the Rangers, but they did not invite Captain Mitchell back. They let me be a voice in one of the monsters in the next year after us. What was the next year after us again?
That was Time Force.
Time Force, yeah. I was Quagmire or one of those monsters on that.
Yeah, and you've done some voice acting too, right?
Yeah, I did. I've done a couple. The Big O, and then the big one was the movie that they made, and they made it into a feature film, and they brought it over here. Cowboy Bebop, I did some voices on that. We did all the ADR stuff with the Loop Group stuff, and then I ended up doing some of the voices we threw into that actually got credited. But that was fun doing that. You do all the crowd stuff and all the scenes. I like doing that kind of work. It's fun.
Are there any upcoming projects that you're working on now or that we can expect to see you in?
There's a bunch of smaller budget feature films I did that are listed on IMDb under 2015. A lot of times those stuff don't even surface anywhere, and you don't know if they're ever going to end up on TV. There's no TV stuff that I know of right now. I'm actually sitting outside an audition right now for a feature film for Lifetime about some baseball player I have to go in and audition for here when I'm done with you guys. So maybe that, who knows? But, you never know where the next job's going to come from. But there's some smaller films and maybe a couple of short films, a couple of features that are lower budget that you always hope they actually finish. Sometimes they lose the money and they don't finish it, or they just don't. It's more than they expected to do, and they can't get the money together, and all that footage dies somewhere in a box. But I also am trying to shoot some of my own films. I like little funny clips sometimes. I put stuff together. I've got the project that we're ready to go shoot, which is 3 guys. We're going to go shoot out, so we'll probably put it under some YouTube accounts. Maybe throw it at some film festivals and stuff. I'm always trying to stay busy because, you don't want to sit around and let the rust grow.
Exactly.
You could ask your listeners, they should all try to go to Captain Mitchell of Lightspeed Rescue and and like
Yes.
the Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Mitchell family page. How's it listed? Is it?
It's the Lightspeed Mitchell family on Facebook.
I think we had to put Lightspeed in there somewhere to make it work. Yes. If everybody likes those pages, then we could probably make more public appearances all over the place and stuff, and can maybe get updated on what's going on. Allison's really good at all that Facebook stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely getting out there more on the convention scene. I think she just did one in Arizona last weekend.
Yeah, I heard of Sean or somewhere like a week or two ago. Sean had never done it until this last summer, and now I think he's done a couple since, so that's cool.
Yeah, we got to get the Mitchell family back together.
Yeah, like that Mitchell family page, and help us get out there, and we'll do more of that stuff. You can see Red's hard to get, too, because he's music career going now. He's got a band, and he's doing a lot more of that stuff. I got a last CD, and it's pretty good. It's fun.
Yeah, I listened to some of his music. It's really good. Well, Ron, we want to thank you so much for coming on to our show today. It's been really great talking to you. We're all really big Lightspeed fans, so to have you...
As well you all should be.
Exactly.
I have a question, too. I'm sure everybody in Power Ranger world has seen the new dark as shit. Or the dark short. Everybody like that, or what's the feeling on it?
Okay, well, me personally, I just thought it was over the top, gratuitous when it didn't need to be. I didn't like it. I don't think that's what Power Rangers is about at all.
I just wish that when they were done the reveal at the end, instead of having the villainess there, which we won't spoil it for people, but wouldn't it be great to have the mask ripped up and it's Mitchell? Cracking a joke, like, joke's on you.
That would have been a much better ending.
Yeah, it would have.
I'm just thinking, I don't know.
Again, we definitely want to thank you for coming on to our show today. It's been a real pleasure having you on, and hopefully we'll see you at another convention soon.
That would be cool. Yay.
That would be great.
Well, thanks for having me.
Right.
It's great to have fans out there still for something we did so long ago. It's a lot of fun. But next up, I think I'm going to try to get on the Star Wars movies and get more fans.
There you go.
Well, that'd be fun. Be that. You know?
We were happy to have you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
All right. Peace out.
See ya.
See you later.
Be kind to each other.
You've been listening to the Ranger Command Power Hour, only on the Four-Eyed Radio Network. You can catch a new episode every other Saturday. Find us on the Morphing Grid at www.rangercommand.com. Follow us on Twitter at RangerCommandPH and like us on Facebook.com/Ranger Command Power Hour. This is Truckee B47 from the Ranger Command Power Hour, and you are listening to the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Ranger Command is now on Patreon. Become a patron by pledging as much or as little as you like every month and receive cool perks. By pledging, you are helping us make our show even better. Go to patreon.com/RangerCommandPH to learn more. Thanks.